Hello, welcome to my session. Today we'll be discussing John Donne's poem, The Sun Rising, an exquisitely beautiful poem you would ever want to read and enjoy. Well, uh, what we'll be focusing on in today's session is we'll be discussing the poem in great detail, focusing on the meaning, theme, and the summary of the poem. In our last session, we talked about the structure, meter, pattern of rhymes, setting, and tone, as well as the background of the poem, The Sun Rising. So, this session will particularly focus on understanding the meaning of the poem. The Sun Rising is, as I told you earlier, is a metaphysical poem, and you know that a metaphysical poem is mostly governed by the use of metaphysical conceit, the most remarkable feature of metaphysical poetry, which is an extended metaphor. So by metaphysical conceit, we mean an extended metaphor. For example, let me refer to the one we have, already talked about in our last session when we discussed valediction forbidding mourning. Let me quote from that poem an example of a metaphysical conceit. Quote: If thy be two, they had two, so as stiff twin compasses are two, thy soul, the fixed board, makes the show to move, but doth if the other do. Here, in the Sun Rising, we will also see the use of metaphysical conceit. For example, let me read out one from the poem, The Sun Rising. Quote: Saucy, pedantic wretch, go, child's late school boys, and so prentices. Go, tell court huntsman that the king will ride. Call country ants to harvest offices, unquote. And this metaphysical, particular metaphysical, piece of conceit appears in lines 5 to 8 of the poem, The Sun Rising. Well, now let's read out the poem first before we begin discussing its meaning. Let me read it out for you first, then you will be reading out on your own. The Sun Rising by John Donne. Busy old fool, unruly sun, why dost thou thus, through windows and through curtains, call on us? Mask to thy emotions, lover's season run. Saucy, pedantic wretch, go, chide late schoolboys, and so prentices. Go, tell court herdsmen that the king will ride. Call country ants to harvest offices. Love, all alike, no season knows nor clime, nor hours, days, months, which are the rags of time. Thy beams so reverent and strong, Why shouldst thou think I could eclipse and cloud them with a wink? But that I would not lose her sight so long, if her eyes have not blinded thine. Look, and tomorrow late, tell me whether both the Indies of spice and mine be where you leftest them, where lie here with me. Ask for those kings whom thou sawest yesterday, and thou shalt hear, all here in one bed lay. She's all states and all princes. I, nothing else is. Princes do but players compared to this. All honors mimic, all wealth alchemy. Thou son art half as happy as we are, in that the world's contracted thus. Thine age asks is, and since thy duties be to warm the world, that's done in warming us. Shine here to us, thou art everywhere. This bed thy center is, these walls thy sphere. So wonderfully, and that's all about reading. So John Donne has, wonderfully presented the theme of love in this poem. Well, now let me talk about the themes of this poem. The themes of this poem are, as we can, normally see or trace out from our reading, love, divinity, nature, God's creation, and the microcosm of the universe. An interesting, theme of this poem. But what is central to all the themes of this poem is, you will see, the authority of love. Because, John Donne talks about nature, the sun, the estates, gold, as well as the concept of, microcosm, only to establish his claim that love is superior to all things mentioned in this poem. By mentioning the sun, the states, the kings, the princes, and the sphere, gold, and all other things. He wants to show the comparison between them and his love for his beloved. So by doing so, what he tries to do is, he tries to show that his love is superior. So his love is authoritative. It is not the sun who is powerful and authoritative. In fact, the idea of love's authority dominates throughout the entire poem. So the most important thing and most important dominating theme of this poem is, we can say, the authority of love, a superiority of love as well. Well, now if I, say something about the summary of this poem, what it means in short is, in this poem, we see that a lover, we mean the speaker of this poem, who, might presumably be our poet as well, is making love with his beloved in his bedroom in the morning. when the sun, rays enter the bedroom through the windows and curtains, and we see that the lover is very much, angry with the intrusion of the sun into his bedroom at this hour. So he feels, disturbed by the intrusion of the sun into his bedroom, and he is, therefore he is, scolding the sun for breaking their privacy and entering his bedroom without their permission. We also see here that the lover, calls the sun, saucy, quote unquote, saucy, pedantic wretch. And he also advises the son to go somewhere else and not to disturb them. He advises the son to, call on the late school boys, apprentices, farmers, and huntsmen instead of calling on them in the morning. And the speaker also, what else we can see here, that the speaker also challenges the sun and its power. He says that he can create a solar eclipse simply by, with the wink, with the wink of his eyes. However, he at the beginning of the poem, we see the mood of the speaker, of the poet, is very angry and unhappy. However, at the end of the poem, we see that the mood changes. The mood, at the end of this poem is, very mild. We see that the voice of the speaker is very mild and welcoming, and he asks the sun to stay and warm his, the poet's bedroom instead of warming the world, because the poet thinks that his bedroom embodies the world. So warming the bedroom, warming them here in this bedroom means warming the entire world. So in short, the poem, means this. And I hope you will enjoy reading this poem. And that's all about for today's session. And to know, more about the meaning of this poem, where the line by line explanation of this poem, watch the next video and see you. Allah Hafiz.